Good morning. My name is Peter Donovan. As I sat with you, listened to Terica speak, I realized that for a really long time, I think I've been guilty of making some pretty ugly assumptions that, quite frankly, I'm ashamed of now. Some assumptions that have actually crossed my mind is the assumption that people always choose to live in poverty. I made the assumption that poverty is always a result of laziness. But what we heard this morning was an account of a hardworking family who had the ability and the desire to turn their situation around. But it wasn't until they had the assistance and the resources that they were actually given the opportunity that they needed to succeed. So it got me thinking about other families in our community who might be in a similar situation. How many are there? And also, what is my responsibility to those families as a member of this community? Because all of us have a choice in how we respond to local poverty. We can ignore it. We can wait until our inactivity and our lack of compassion comes back to haunt us, either haunt our economy or our own standard of living or our conscience. But I don't think that's us. I don't think that's the people who are in this room. That's not you and me. I think the very fact that you're here shows that you care too much to ignore it. And I think that what happens then is that most of us here will typically respond in one of two really general ways. We either respond in a reactive way or in a proactive way. And what I mean by a reactive response, that's what happens when, even though we want to help, we see that there's a problem and we want to help, bottom line, we don't know how. And so what we end up doing is sitting and waiting for poverty to come knocking at our door, and if and when it does, we reactively respond with toast and cream cheese, which is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't get to the heart of the issue. I've worked with families in Skagit County who are in need for over a decade, and one of the most beautiful things that I've seen is when this community steps up with a proactive response. It's when we anticipate the inevitability that families in our community are going to fall on difficult times, while we also remain cognizant of the fact that a community can't prosper without caring for, without addressing the needs of its struggling families. So a proactive response happens when we invest our resources wisely. We can do something about poverty in Skagit County. We can lessen its debilitating effects. We can proactively support and strengthen and further expand the infrastructures and programs that already exist, like community action. So what we're talking about, structures that are already in place. We're talking about supporting structures that are poised to combat poverty through assistance, but also through education. Structures like community action with a proven track record of effectiveness. It's why we're here this morning. We can proactively engage in a united effort to transform our community. I would go as far as to say that we have a responsibility to wisely invest in this way. The economic transformation of our community, it is multifaceted for sure, but I believe that a fundamental piece of our security and our prosperity as a community lies in empowering families. And that's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to provide opportunity, empower families, bridge the gap between families who have that ability and that desire to get to that place of success. They need an opportunity. So on behalf of Community Action, I wanted to thank you for being here this morning, for giving your time, for making what will be a significant difference in Skagit County. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming.